We want a radical decentralization in line with our constitution. And sometimes it's not popular speaking about that in Quebec or in Atlantic Canada, but we are speaking about it because we believe that it's the best vision for this country, for a freer country and a more prosperous country. And actually, it's important to speak about that when you have 32% of the population here in Alberta that want to separate, more than in Quebec. In Quebec, it's 30%. And in Ontario, it's about 20%. But these mainstream political parties, like the Conservative and the NDP and the Liberals, won't speak about the equalization formula. They won't speak about using the Constitution for pipeline. We are the only solution for Alberta and for Canada.
Adam Soos here for Rebel News with a man who needs no introduction, Maxime Bernier, the leader of the People's Party of Canada. Great to see you in town. Hopefully you get to have some Stampede fun. I did want to pick your brain on a couple sort of issues. Obviously, first and foremost, on the federal political front, is the conversation around the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada. Very, very much seeing a bit of a sort of reemergence. People who had maybe lost hope in the Conservative Party of Canada, maybe looking at some of these new leaders, starting to maybe think that there's hope in that political front. What's your take on that, about the reemergence of hope in the Conservative Party of Canada?
So you're speaking about Pierre Poilievre, and you're right. Pierre Poilievre right now is speaking like a real conservative, like I did in 2017 when I was running for the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada, like O'Toole did also during the leadership contest. As you remember, he was saying, you know, I'm a true blue. So if you are a conservative and you want to win the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada, you need to speak like a conservative. But that's only to win the leadership. After that, they will go to the left. Poilievre or whoever will be the leader, they will go to the left because, you know, like me, there's more seats in the GTA than in all Alberta. And we are living in a socialist era right now. And to have this seat, they will have to please them. And because they're doing politics not based on conviction or conservative principles, they're doing politics based on survey and polling. That's what Pierre Poilievre is doing and the Conservative Party of Canada is doing. That's why I left 4 years ago and I said this party is morally and intellectually corrupt because they are not conservative.
The Conservative Party has abandoned conservative. It does not represent them anymore. I have come to realize over the past year that this party is too intellectually and morally corrupt to be reformed.
The best example of that is the Freedom Convoy. And, you know, where was Pierre Poilievre 2 years ago when we needed a real opposition in Ottawa? Yeah. The Conservative Party of Canada was not the opposition at that time. We were the opposition. And I was there. It was not popular to speak for freedom, against the mandates, against vaccine passport. You know, people were looking at you, the mainstream media, saying, oh, you're crazy. Now it's more popular, not because of me, because of the freedom fighters all across the country, because of the truckers, because of the Freedom Convoy. Now it's more popular. We were successful to shift the public opinion, to increase the support for freedom. And now Poilievre decided to speak about that. He was not there when we needed him. So yes, right now people are looking at him like a savior. But I believe that they will be disappointed like they were with O'Toole when the time will come, when they'll do their polling and focus group before the election, and they will go to the left. What Pierre Poilievre is doing right now, it's a nice buzzword and slogan. I don't know if you had time to go to his rallies, but he has a speech, 22-minute speech. He won't answer any questions. Why? Because, you know, he wants his message to be out there and he doesn't want his message to be confronted or debate. So, but if you look, he said that he's not a globalist, but he is for the Paris Accord. Yes, he won't impose a carbon tax, but he will impose more regulation on businesses. So the Paris Accord, it's coming from the UN, is for that. You know, he doesn't say anything about immigration, for example. You know, he's for mass immigration like the Liberals, and it's coming from the UN with the Global Compact on Migration. So he's saying that he's not a globalist, but when you look at his platform. He has the same platform like the Liberals or the NDP on the UN, on foreign aid, on the Paris Accord. And he's saying also to you in Alberta that he will build pipelines. He will build pipelines all across the country. Our purse said that also. I was part of that cabinet. We were not able, when I was a conservative, we were not able to build pipelines. Why? Because we didn't have any courage to use the Constitution and impose a pipeline on Quebec or on BC. I'm saying that since 2019, that we must use the Constitution, Section 9210. Like that, the federal government will have the full jurisdiction, the full authority, the full responsibility to build a pipeline, and the federal government will be able to impose a pipeline on Quebec or on BC. We must do that and speak to the population and telling them that it's safer to transport oil and gas by pipelines than by train or trucks. So it's for pipeline, but he won't use the only tool that we have to be sure that we'll have pipeline, because he wants vote in Quebec and he doesn't want to explain the situation to Quebecers, because he's doing politics by survey and focus group and slogan. So for us, we are speaking about things, and if it's popular or not, it's not important for us. We have a vision for this country. We have a vision for Alberta, a smaller government in Ottawa. If you want to have your caisse de dépôt, you'll be able to have that. If you want to have your own police force, you'll be able to have that. If you want to control your immigration, you'll be able. We want a radical decentralization in line with our Constitution. And sometimes it's not popular speaking about that in Quebec or in Atlantic Canada. But we are speaking about it because we believe that it's the best vision for this country, for a freer country and a more prosperous country. And actually, it's important to speak about that when you have 32% of the population here in Alberta that want to separate, more than in Quebec. In Quebec, it's 30%. And in Ontario, it's about 20%. But these mainstream political parties, like the Conservative and the NDP and the Liberals, won't speak about the equalization formula. They won't speak about using the Constitution for pipeline. We are the only solution for Alberta and for Canada.
So that you brought up some interesting points. Definitely lots of people concerned about Pierre Poilievre not answering questions, not being availability, a lack of availability. Now, don't get me wrong, he'll do the occasional press thing, usually in very controlled circumstances. But most of the points that he's really gaining traction on and garnering points and winning people over are points that the PPC has had since its inception. Is that not right?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Because we were successful. And that's an example. When you speak about something based on facts and telling the truth to Canadians with passion and conviction, so that idea will become popular. And we had an example with the Freedom Convoy about ending the mandates. And also, we as a party, we are an example of that. When we started off our party in 2018, at 0%, our first election in 2019, 1.6%, and now 5% at the last election. We are growing, and our platform is always the same, and that will be the same one at the next election. But we're not like the traditional mainstream party that are doing focus group and having a new platform before the election. No, we believe in strong conservative freedom values, and we are promoting that, popular or not, knowing that the more we speak about that, the more popular our ideas would be.
So these mainstream legacy parties who just follow polling, then, can people ever trust them again, or are they just doomed because they're just forever chasing being a windsock?
Yeah, I believe that, people, if you look at the credibility, I will answer your question like that. If you look at the credibility of politicians, it's almost zero. People don't believe politicians. Why? Because they're all the same. They're telling you something and they will do the opposite. They don't trust the politics, and I understand. So that's why we're doing politics differently. And we are offering, the People's Party are offering an alternative to all these mainstream political parties like the Conservative, the NDP, the Liberals, and the Green Party of Canada. That alternative, if you want a real change, we are there. And, I don't believe that if you vote for the PPC here in Alberta, that you will have a Liberal candidate elected. No, you can vote for your values. And, if you want some change, vote for what you believe, and you have more chances to have what you want.
I want to jump to something you said a little bit earlier. You talked about where was Pierre, where were these people 2 years ago when people needed them. Tamara Lich, her bail hearing was just delayed until July 25th, I believe. At that point, she will have spent 48 days behind bars, treatment worse than you see rapists, criminals, drug dealers getting. Many politicians say, well, oh, she's a political prisoner, this isn't right. And then you say, what would they do about it? And they say, well, we don't want to interfere in the judicial system. The judicial system is responding to political pressures. That's why they're targeting these people, unlike anyone else. What would Maxime Bernier do about the situation with Tamara Lich if you're in charge?
First of all, I think you're absolutely right. She's a political prisoner. For me, she's a heroine. What she did, she was not alone with all other Canadians over there, just a peaceful demonstration, a peaceful protest in Ottawa. I was part of that. And, you know, for me personally, I was 12 hours in jail in Manitoba. 12 hours, that was very long for me. I cannot imagine being 22 days, 40 days in jail for nothing, just to express a point of view. So what we must do, we must, and I'm very pleased that she received also the Freedom Award from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. I was there in Toronto when she received it. I was also in Vancouver when we gave her that prize. So that being said, the justice system right now, it's difficult for me as a politician to trust judges. And what we must do, we must put judges in charge that are, you know, not believing in wokeism, or judges that will look at the law and giving their decision in line with the law, not in line with, you know, what would be the impact of my decision. Actually, you know, the Justice Center sued a provincial government and didn't win during COVID-19 the last 2 years. I believe that they didn't win because judges were looking at that and saying, okay, the population agree with that. 60-75% of the population agree with these lockdowns. And if I'm doing that, you know, it's tough to give a decision in line with the Constitution when you have the population that agree with that. Mm-hmm. So they didn't have the courage to do their job properly. And that's why we must appeal this decision. And I hope that if it's going to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court of Canada will look at the Constitution and our rights and have a good decision. But you never know. So that's why we must show them, and we must put more pressure on the judiciary system with the population. The more people will be on our side, that will influence the judges.
So you think that the political capacity for involvement is to ensure that there's non-politicized judges and judges who look at the letter of the law?
Yeah, non-justice warriors, and we want them to look at the law and apply the law in line with the facts, and they're not doing that right now.
I just wanted to ask quickly on the federal front, and this is very much a question about small government. Trudeau's government has increased per-person debt by 35.5% since 2015. Is the only solution to this, you can't spend your way out of debt, is the only solution less government?
Absolutely. You know, we are in a recession right now. I'm repeating that. We are in a recession right now. We have 7.7% inflation, and the real inflation, everybody knows that it must be 12 or 13%. If you do your grocery and you go to the gas station, mm-hmm. You'll see that. So we have that because of these huge deficit, $450 billion the last 2 years. So the way to solve that, and we had this deficit because the Bank of Canada was the ATM machine for the federal government. When you print money out of thin air, there's a lot of money chasing fewer goods, you have inflation. And that's the impact. We have that inflation. The solution to all that, yes, is to have a smaller government that will cut and balance the budget as soon as possible. That's the solution. And to tell the Bank of Canada, instead of having a target of 2% inflation, that was their target and still their target, now we are at 7.7%, they must have a target of 0% inflation. Like that, Canadians will keep their purchasing power. Now we are poor, our purchasing power is going down, our standard of living is going down because of the huge deficit and the big government that spend money that we don't have and interfere in provincial jurisdiction. There's two impacts on that. First, on the economy, recession, and second, on the unity of our country. When you interfere in provincial jurisdictions, people at the provincial level and governments at the provincial level don't like that. And you cannot have unity in our country. And I'm very concerned about 32% of Albertans looking for the independence. And it's very sad that you don't see any traditional politicians in Ottawa speaking about that, about equalization and all the other policies that we must change to be sure that Alberta will be happy in Canada.
And that's my final question. As you mentioned, Albertans categorically not happy. Very often there's this comparison of being in a bad relationship. We're abused, but we're still hanging on. What can be done to fix that situation? Or does Alberta need to get out? And also with the UCP leadership underway, potentially going to determine the next premier, God forbid, as long as Rachel Notley doesn't get in, but the next premier of this province. Is there anyone sticking out as someone who's sort of saying the right things, echoing the right values? How do we get Alberta back on track?
Yeah, that will start at the provincial level. And I'm doing politics at the federal level. I don't want to interfere in provincial jurisdiction. But that being said, if you want to be serious, look what Quebec did to be sure to regain his powers. We had a referendum. We elected an independentist party, the Parti Québécois. And so if you're serious about that, you must vote for a party that will promote more autonomy for your province. And I believe that these traditional establishment politicians will maybe look a little bit more at these challenges. So that will start at the provincial level. Vote for a party that will defend your autonomy. And after that, at the federal level, we are the only one. So what I'm saying, if you're a separatist in Alberta, you can vote for us. And I believe that you must vote for us at the federal level because you won't have separation tomorrow. And you'll need to have a party in Ottawa that will respect you and be sure that the federal government will be smaller and respect provincial autonomy. That's us. If you're a federalist here, you must vote for us because we are your only hope. If we don't do these changes that you want, there's a chance that Alberta, Quebec, I don't know what will happen. I'm a federalist. I believe in this country. I believe in our constitution. I believe in our Charter of Rights and Freedom. I believe in the separation of power between Ottawa and provinces. We are the only party, the only hope for Alberta. But you must start at the provincial level. Vote for a party that will fight for you, that will fight for your provincial government, and that will give a strong signal in Ottawa.
Awesome. Well, Maxime Bernier, I want to thank you so much for taking this time to speak with us. Hopefully you get a chance to enjoy a little bit of stampeding while you're in town here. Greatly appreciate it. And for everyone at home, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. At Rebel News, we are going out of our way to ensure that you know where these politicians stand when it comes to the race for the leadership of the United Conservative Party in this province. The direction of this province moving forward and the prosperity of ourselves and future generations depends heavily on this race. To make sure you stay informed, go to ucpleadership.com.